Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Horler at Cybos 2015 and I'm joined by Laurence Leyden of SAP. Thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
So what implications does the drive for digitalisation have on banks' core back-end systems?
Well, I think the drive to digitalisation is a very interesting area because it really looks at going within the boundaries of the bank and also outside the boundaries of the bank as well. Traditionally, the product configuration has been reasonably simple, and I think you add a completely different dimension when you talk about digital. So what we really need to think is, how do we bring in relationships, how do we bring in pricing, how do we bring in much more complexity of that relationship and make sure it's much more in an end-to-end flow. When you bring all those things together, you're really ramping up on the exponential nature of how many things you have to connect and how you have to make sure that digital interaction goes across that whole value cycle. That's what's very different from just traditional point-to-point products in the way they've been constructed previously.
And what challenges do banks with significant legacy face and how can they make their journey easier?
Well, I think some of those product systems, they again are very hardwired, so they tend to have been designed in swim lanes. And what we see with digitalisation is we need to turn that really by 90 degrees. So what we're looking at now across this piece is to make sure the customer is at the heart of everything we do. So we need to understand what holdings they have, we need to understand what their lifestyle choices are, we need to understand what they want to try and achieve, and that really has not a lot to do with the individual products. It has to do with our relationship, and it has to do with what they're holding and what they want to add to that holding or how they want to service that holding. That level of complexity is very, very difficult to do with an old legacy system, especially as some of them are batch, some of them are online. There's a mixture which makes it very difficult to combine those and then make a decision based on the whole holding as opposed to an individual product decision.
And does revamping banks' core banking systems for digitalisation bring other benefits?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question as well, because I think the whole ethos of changing a core system, you shouldn't just be looking at how you make the product introduction quicker or get a look at that relationship. You should be looking at the cost of delivery as well. So if you look at traditional systems, they take a lot longer to get in, they take a lot longer to change, they take a lot longer for their regulatory components to be adjusted. So again, one of the byproducts of looking at new systems is the time for those things should be much shorter, and the cost for making those changes again should be much shorter as well. If you can achieve that, as well as making sure your customer interaction is much better, you have a much closer relationship with your customer, and you're also making sure that those processes are more end-to-end, you're going to achieve a much better overall result for your bank. Also, I think it's not only just inside the banking boundary we need to look at. So how do you make sure you connect outside of the banking boundary into value chains of our customers? So maybe we need to connect more with retailers, maybe we need to make sure that we're connecting with the buying decisions that customers are making, how we're funding those, and that's seamless to the customer, because a customer doesn't really want from their financial institution anymore just a financial product. They need to make a lifestyle choice of which finance is one component. So again, if you can do those things, expand the range, keep the costs down, make the changes quicker, and have a better customer relationship, you're really achieving what you need to in today's modern banking interaction.
Laurence, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching.